Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am here with a video that is making me very nervous. On the other hand, I feel that it's important to me, and I guess that's why it makes me nervous, because I'm not used to doing things that feel right for me. Because I feel like I don't know. I don't trust my judgment. I don't feel like I explain narcissism well enough, to have people understand. And I really want people to understand. I watch some people on TikTok that are so awesome, and they're so good at explaining things. I'm sure they have people too who say, you don't know what you're talking about, or, stuff like that. But because I have lived through this, I absolutely can tell that they know what they're talking about. The funny thing is, though, everyone that I watch, they all have no contact with a narcissistic parent. I wish I could have been educated about this long ago, because I absolutely would have done that too. I wouldn't have minded. See, I'm already saying how I wouldn't have minded, some contact. But the thing is with a narcissist, there is no some contact. They will bring you to your knees the minute they have a chance to. So it's a touchy subject, because people who have had normal lives, is there such a thing? Especially with a narcissistic mother, people think that the person who is saying things about their mother is some kind of evil, because mothers are glorified, absolutely glorified. But she's your mother, and she's the only mother you'll ever have. I had a hospice nurse say to me, you only have one mother to love, something like that. I snapped back at her. I actually have that recorded. I'll have to find that clip. Hang on, let me find it. I found the clip. I record a lot of stuff because I feel like I need to constantly prove to myself that I'm not making shit up, because I've been raised to believe that I know nothing, and that I'm always wrong, and that I'm a sick woman, and I just make stuff up, just make it up. All right, so this was the reason I left the other hospice. Well, there were a couple of other reasons. We had a different hospice company when we came here to Mississippi, and you're going to hear me mention Brandy. That was the social worker, and she's the one that just dismissed my pleas for help. And I was very open and honest with her about how bad things can get. And her thing that she said to me was, just remember, this is temporary. And I was like, 61 years of the same thing is not temporary. I know they just don't understand. They just don't get it. And a lot of people don't like to hear somebody diagnosing someone. And no, my mother has never been officially diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. If I would pursue that, she absolutely would be, and probably other things. Histrionic personality disorder also. I know more about this than any nurse I have talked to, and even some doctors. It's not talked about enough. At the very least, I can say my mother acts exactly like someone with narcissistic personality disorder. That's not putting a diagnosis on her. It's just telling you how she acts. So this nurse, it was the first time that she came, and I explained to her, because we had a very rough morning, and I was trying to explain to her how my mother is, because I'm always trying to let people know right away because I never know how my mother's going to act or what she's going to say. Now, in this instance, my mother was saying she wanted to go to a nursing home. When my mother does that, what she's looking for is sympathy from the person who just walked in the door. She does not want to actually go to a nursing home. She doesn't realize that the stuff she says can be put into action, and then she's like, in a corner and she doesn't know what to do. So she'll find a way to blame me for what she just said. So because we had a rough morning, I don't know what about. Maybe I didn't make the breakfast the way she wanted. Anything. It can be anything. So she was saying she wanted to get out. She told her that I don't feed her. I don't let her ever get up. It's just one thing after another. And she just... So I was not a happy camper in front of that nurse, and I was like, look, I'm so sick and tired of this, and I was talking in a loud voice, and then I decided I need to get up and turn the camera on. So after things calmed a little bit, I got up and I turned the camera on, and that's exactly, I think you can hear the camera click on, and the nurse started, telling me about I only have the one mother. And that's where I'm saying people idolize motherhood, like they cannot do any wrong. And even if they do wrong, we're supposed to just be so forgiving and understanding. She raised you. She did the best she could. My mother was and still is my abuser. She was my abuser my whole childhood, and that's not something that I'm saying she's evil for. She has a problem, but that doesn't mean that I have to just be fully accepting of that. I deserved better, and I'm learning by watching more narcissistic things because I had stopped for a while. It's all I did for like maybe 5 years, and then I stopped and I started getting, I was mostly reading a lot of stuff, not really watching videos. Videos has opened my eyes because I get to see other people tell their stories, and it just validates, and it just helps me to know, like one person said, it's not, I'm not the one to be ashamed. I should not be ashamed by the way I was raised because it has nothing to do with me at all. And I should be free to talk about how I was raised because other people are free to talk about how they are raised. We need to let people talk about their past. I think it's the only way to survive it in some way. And I'm still not considering myself a survivor because I'm still living it. So the other thing I wanted to say is everybody that I watch is no contact. I haven't watched anyone who is still living with a narcissistic parent, specifically a mother. Those are the ones I follow because that's my deal. I know that there are a lot of people who stay married to narcissists or whatever, but generally we leave our parents, and I just never did. I was groomed to not leave. So this is what the nurse said.
But all I will say and can say is that you have one mom left to love.
That is not advice I need from you. Brandy knows what I've gone through. Other people have known. A narcissistic personality disorder mother is not somebody, but that's not your place to tell me how I'm supposed to feel about the life I live.
I'm just making a statement.
It's not your place to make a statement like that.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I'm 61 years old. I know I was given one mother in this world.
Okay.
And, it was just dismissing anything that I had told her before she came in. And I immediately called hospice and canceled them. And I told them that I didn't like the social worker dismissing me. She didn't help at all and get things started. And that I did not like that the nurse is telling me you know, how I'm supposed to feel about my mother. You know, it's just not, that's not their place at all. Okay, so what I did today is our morning routine is, and a lot of times it's okay, but I can tell when my mother is starting to want to have a blow up fight, because that's what makes my mother feel better. She feels powerful if she can break me or whoever she would be working on at the time. It could be anybody. It doesn't have to be me. If Derek was, you know, taking care of her for an entire month, I mean, she would start tormenting him and just making him miserable. She just does that to anyone. So our morning routine is, I like it when I wake up before her, because then I'm usually guaranteed my whole cup of coffee in peace. And I get up, I make coffee, and I come right here to my computer, and I start working on the book list that I do. This morning, I woke up and I just laid there for a few minutes, and I heard her take a sip of water. She has water by her bed all the time on her, her bedside table. And you're going to see a table in the clip, but that's not the table. That's her coloring table. She has a brown, the tables that go right over a bed. Well, she has that by her bed, and she has her water there in case she needs to drink something during the night. So I heard her cup. She took a sip. She put the cup down. So I was like, oh shit, she's awake. But that's okay too, because there's mornings that that she's up at the same time, and I get up and she knows how important it is for me to have coffee before I can do anything. Is that selfish? I don't care if it is. I want 15 to 20 minutes before I have to talk, think, do anything, to just have coffee. I'm okay with being on the computer. I want to wake up a little bit. She understands that, but on any given day that she wants extra attention and she wants to upset me, she knows the things that are the most important to me. So those are the things that she will ruin for me. So I get up and I go over to her bed and I said, Mom, I just got up. I see you're awake. I just got up. So I'm going to make my coffee and I'm going to go sit at my computer, and then I'll come out as soon as I'm done. And she just looks at me. And I thought, okay, this isn't going to go good now, because she didn't say, yes, that's all right, I'll be fine. Nothing like that. So I make my coffee, I go in my office, I come here and I sit down and I take a few sips and I hear, Darlene. Well, I got up and I went to her bed and I didn't let her talk yet. I just said, Mom, I'm reminding you that I'm having my coffee and I'm going in my office, and I will come out and do all the morning stuff with you like I always do. Just let me have my coffee. And I came in here and immediately got my camera, because I knew she wasn't going to play along. Now, no matter what I would have said, she would have still wanted a little bit of an argument. I didn't give it to her today, so she made things difficult all day, and even just tonight. She was dying tonight. And I suggested that if she's dying, maybe we'll just leave her in her chair. You no need to get up. She says, I'm dying, I'm too sick to get up. And I said, well, just right here in your chair. So that's not what she wants. She doesn't want that. And I know that. And it's just like, that's all I feel like telling her at that point. What she wants is somebody to say, oh my goodness, are you sure? Oh, I hope that you feel better. She wants to be babied. I can't fucking do it. I can't baby her like that. That's why I want to hire people, and I make it clear that the people we hire, I want them to be able to baby her. That sounds ridiculous, but that's what she needs. That's what I want to hire for her, because I'm too attached to her emotionally, and I have too much of a history that I just can't play that game. I simply can't. I went back, got my camera, and I started to come out, and you'll see that, I think you'll hear again that I just turned the camera on, and I start hearing her. And just listen.
Darling, please come. Darling, please come. Darling, don't leave me like this. Please, I've been waiting. I've been a good girl. I've been waiting. Please, darling, please, let me get up. Darling, just let me get up. Please, darling, please, you have to help me. I'm not well. I need some water. Please, darling, just give me some water. Darling, why are you doing this to me? I don't want to do this for you. Please, darling, please, let me get some water. Darling, let me get some water.
That's her way of wanting attention. She's not sick. She's not thirsty. Her water's right there. Oh, but she did push the table away. That's right. When I went back out at the very end of that clip, I come out, I had to stop it because I was in my jams. I didn't want you to see that. And so the table had been pushed. She pushed it. It's on wheels. So she wants to make it like she can't get her water. She's the one that pushed it. I certainly didn't. So that's her way of wanting attention. And she knew that I just told her, I'm going to have my coffee. So that was the thing she was going to disrupt, because she wants not only attention that she knows she's not going to get with me. Attention, I take care of her, but I'm not going to be like, oh, really, Mama? She likes baby talk. She talks baby talk. Fucking drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. And you can see that she's very childlike. She said something in there like, I've been a good girl. Did you catch that? She talks like that. And so she's looking for some attention, but what she really wants is to upset me. And I just didn't go full force with it. I went out there. I told her, let's start to get up. I did the whole morning routine, but there was things like, she's in her chair. Now I go make her breakfast, but she's like, so you're not going to feed me today? It's things like that. And then she'll start leaving things on her plate. This has been happening for like maybe 4 or 5 days. I even told her social worker, who I thought understood what I was talking about when I explained the whole narcissistic thing. She doesn't really. Because when my mother's having a good day, when she comes here and my mother's acting good, she's like, see, she just needed to adjust. It was a move for her. I was like, but no, nothing to do with the move. People see that she's really nice at times and they think that, oh, you're in good. It's okay now. She's all right now. No, it's not. So I did tell her, I'm seeing signs that she wants to break me. And it can be little things like leaving certain things on her plate that she would never leave on her plate. And saying things like, I guess that you'll never take me for another ride. Out of the blue. It's just something, and it's always in that way. Instead of saying, do you think we could go for another ride sometime? No, I guess you're never going to take me for another ride. Or, I don't know the last time that I had my spaghetti, and it could be just, 2 days ago, So those are all things, and if I ignore it, that can make her mad. If I answer it in a nice way, oh, you just had spaghetti 2 days ago, Mom. I can make you some more today. See, she doesn't want that. She doesn't want a solution. She wants to piss me off. And she wants us to have a fight. Plain and simple. I grew up with it. Okay, so what you saw in the video with my mother, when I was a child, and I know that you might say, she's old, and that's why she's acting that way. No, when I was a child and she would pull these stunts, I was so afraid at times, and then other times, if there was somebody else in the house, I wasn't as afraid because I knew it was my job to take care of my mother. But if I was alone, I would hide. My hiding places were behind the couch, or we had a cabinet. We had a little galley kitchen, a big kitchen, but then where you cooked was a galley, and there was cabinets, and there was one at the end that I could get in, and I would hide there. And it was like where we kept the flour and the sugar, and I could hide there. Or I would lock myself in the bathroom, and I just wanted her to stop. And she would, act like that. But I mean, way worse, she could, just always be telling me she's dying. She didn't say she's dying right there. I'll try to get her on camera, at least the audio, so you can, see what I'm talking about or hear what I'm talking about. But it was very scary. And stuff like this is like all the time over the years. A few times a week, a few times per day. Today, she's pulled that a couple times. Like I said, she was just in her chair. She was dying. She was too sick to get up. Let's just leave you in your chair then, and it's like, and I flat out tell her, Mom, if it's time to die, just die. Please just die. Just lay there and die. Why are you so worried? You always say you want to die, and that's how I feel. The only sadness I will feel when my mother dies is that now I will know for sure that there is no chance of me ever having a normal mother, but I already know that. I already know that I never had a mother. I had somebody who fed me and put clothes on my back and completely destroyed any self-respect that I had, any hope of a good life, hurt me physically until I was a young teenager. And, it was just, and it wasn't just, it was like I could be doing absolutely nothing, and then she could come and just whack me across the head with a hairbrush. And she, of course, denies all this. I remember walking down the stairs one time, and she was behind me, and then all of a sudden I just got hit in the head with something very hard. It made the biggest lump. I don't know what I did. Was I walking too slow? I mean, I just don't know. And she would do these things to me as a very little child, and then really, really whip me with belts and stuff in her hands. I mean, it was very physically abusive. And even as a child, I would rather take that than the emotional abuse of scaring me half to death all the time. So I grew up with that. And again, it's not a matter of throwing my mother under the bus. It's a matter of just being free to talk about my childhood. I deserve that. I deserved better than what I got. I didn't deserve any of that shit. I didn't deserve any of it. And it's like, but, so many people are afraid to talk because people will just blame the person who's saying these things, and I can't make people believe me, but there are people who will believe me because they lived the same nightmare. And I guess that's the audience that I'm trying to talk to right now. I don't want sympathy. I just, I'm still living it because, obviously there's no physical abuse. That stopped, like I said, when I was old enough to fight back. That stopped. But it brings it back to me. You know what I mean? All these little triggers all the time. I'm constantly living with those memories fresh in my mind. It's just very sad. I'm very sad for that little girl. I'm very sad for the alcoholic that I became. And I look back at those people, you know, I was a drunk teenage mother who let her son also be raised by this woman. And you know what? I thought he was perfectly safe with her because I never thought or dreamed that she would behave like that to anyone other than me, because I thought I was the problem. I was convinced of that. And one of the TikTokers that I watch, she said the same thing. It wasn't until she had children and she saw her mother treating them that way that she realized, oh my God, this wasn't meant just for me. She's willing to do this to them. So she left. But I was a drunk and I didn't leave. I was so messed up. I mean, I was just so messed up. I wish I could have made different choices. I certainly wish I could start over. But I can't, you know, and I do talk openly to Derek about just how sorry I am, you know. You know, I was responsible for my own behavior, for my drinking and all that. But it's very hard to break out of something like that when all you know is abuse and emotional torture. You know, it's just, the booze was my lifeline. It's what made me be able to, you know, somehow get away from that. Derek didn't stand a chance in that family, you know, as to having a normal mother and a normal grandmother and a very absent grandfather because he worked 2 jobs. But Derek did have my father when my father finally retired. So he did have a good male figure in his life. Thank goodness. My father and my brother-in-law, those were, you know, 2 men who absolutely adored Derek and were very, very good to him. But that doesn't heal the damage that's done. It really doesn't. Damage is permanent when it comes to things like that. And I'm still living with it. And I really just feel at this point, you know, it's kind of just too late. I just have to wait it out. And the other thing that struck me as odd is that all my life my mother has been telling me she's dying. And when when the hospital called and said that she was dying and that I could have hospice at home, I couldn't believe that it was really happening. It was almost like I was so at peace and at the same time so frazzled because we had all these plans, and I was like, you know, okay, I'll take her home. She can die here. And, you know, I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. And I was at peace with the dying part. And because I believed it for sure this time. All the other times, it was just, you know, her telling me that she was dying, but a hospital was telling me this. And she didn't fucking die. It's like, I just can't believe that I even had to go through the whole death process in my head and it didn't happen. I'm not saying I want my mother to die, but I'm saying I cannot believe that it was the ultimate crying wolf. I don't know how that hospital got it so wrong. I just don't. I just don't. And it, you know, it's just ironic that I had to be so sure, like I've been a million times in my life. As, you know, as a child, I was always sure she was dying because you're a kid. And when your mother says she's dying, you believe her. I don't know. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.